One of the best metrics for success in life can be measured with numbers. It could be the amount of money that is in your bank account. It could be the amount of sales that you have. It could be the amount of people that you interact with, the amount of people that you impact. But numbers is a very, very universal thing. It transcends language barriers, and it even finds itself to be absolute in most realms in science itself. Therefore, numbers are some of the most important things in life. And one of the things we want to talk about is getting your numbers up. Why don't you make more money? Why don't you make more friends? Why don't you increase your impact? Why don't you gift more things to more people? You see, we have a lot to give in life, but oftentimes we focus on the frivolous things rather than getting down into the nitty and gritty to understand the details that can be quantified with numbers so that we can maximize our outcomes.
You want to get your numbers up. You want to increase the numbers that you have, the amount of money that you have, all that type of shit. I would say the first thing that you need to do is focus on getting your numbers right. So I say that to say, one of the first things that you're going to think about whenever you have a business is potentially getting funding. Unless you're just rich as fuck, then hey, congratulations, that's awesome. Most of us don't have that large access to money that you need to start whatever business that you're starting. So if you are looking for some type of funding, one of the main things that you're going to have to get right, and I'm not saying like 100% right, but close enough to where your numbers make fucking sense, are your numbers / projections for your company. One of the main things that we encountered whenever we first started was this specific thing in itself. And we had to grow up whenever we started to go down this path, because we had an idea of what we'd spend. And I was just talking about this with someone. Like, we had an idea on, certain things, but when the bank came to us and said, hey, this is nice or whatever, but can you do me a favor? Can you give me your projections every month? Oh, okay, yeah, we could do that every month for about like 6 months. No. Every month for 2 years. 2 years, you're going to have to give your projections of what you think you're going to profit, what your expenses are, broken down to every single fucking expense, when you're going to order something, taxes, of course, like just every little thing that you probably wouldn't have given much thought to, or you just like, hey, that's fine, whatever. We had to break that down. And you're probably gonna have to do something similar in the future. And whether it's from a bank, whether it's from someone who is of high status that has a lot of funds to play with and say, hey, look, I'm willing to fund you. They're only going to be willing to fund you unless they're just like, such a super cool person. But that's probably like 0.5% of people on the fucking planet. They're going to ask you, yeah, that sounds like a great idea, but let me see your numbers. So when someone says, let me see your numbers, what do you have to show them? You have to have your numbers in order to grow your numbers. And I know it sounds like a kind of, mind fuck, but that's literally how it works. Like, in order for you to get funding, or in order for you to increase your business production, you're going to have to know, this is what I'm supposed to make, this is where I fell short, or this is where I succeeded or exceeded. Why did I fall short? Why did I exceed? Oh, is it because I spent too much here? Or is it because I made more than what I thought I would here? So how can we replicate that? You can increase the fortitude and production and overall success of your business because you have your numbers in order, and you can be able to look back on those numbers. Like for us this past week, we noticed that, or the past couple weeks, we noticed that once we took a look at our numbers, we had very conservative number projections. And Jose said, hey, we're actually surprisingly about 13 months ahead of our projection. Wow. Why is that? oh, because we did X, Y, and Z, we sold more here, we had more events that allowed us to sell more here, we already got into this many amounts of, establishments, we had, this many subscriptions, memberships, all this type of stuff, which was way more than what we projected to do. And we've done it for not only just 1 month, multiple months. So, wow, that's amazing. And we were only able to realize how far we exceeded our expectations because we had our numbers in order first. And we used that as a good kind of base for us to be able to level set. Here's where we are and here's what we're doing. Here's where we're expected. And also here's where we're exceeding or not exceeding our expectations. So if you want to succeed, you want to increase your numbers and get your numbers higher than what they are currently in whatever you're talking about, whether it's monetarily, how many fucking doors you have. So when I say doors, I mean houses or real estate properties that you have, how many fucking girlfriends you have, who fucking knows. If you want to get your numbers up, make sure that your numbers are in order to start with.
And one of the things I want to mention is you can recite your numbers and you can see them and you can read them, but you don't have a thorough understanding of your numbers if you cannot replicate them and actually cognize and explain to this in the simplest terms what they mean and what they indicate. Because oftentimes we say, okay, the P&L has this number. All right, what does that mean? Where is it coming from? Have you taken taxes? Have you accounted for expenses? What is your sales tax numbers? What do all these numbers indicate? Is it liquid cash? Is it assets? Because one of the biggest things that you realize is that you don't have a true understanding of something unless you can automatically recall it and say it. If you want to make a statement and you want to say, hey, the sky's blue, and I ask you why, and you can't explain it, then you can't confidently say that the sky is blue. If you want to say you own a $1 million business, what does that mean? Is it $1 million in revenue? Is it $1 million in profit? Because revenue feeds the ego, but profit feeds the family. So if you're sitting here and saying, I have this amount of money, I make 6 figures in my business, I make 7 figures in my business, I struck this deal, I did that. Cool. Money is moving, but you don't understand cash flow. And this is the other thing too. Yes, we've been emphasizing that numbers is a quantity game, but it's also a quality game because, for example, you might foster and nurture a relationship between a business partner, but not make a lot of money off of it. It might not be immediately profitable, but you can quantify what that relationship will do in the future. Sometimes you have to burn to learn. You have to lose in order to win. Sometimes you take a loss. You say, hey, I'm going to give you this product for free. I'm losing money. I'm losing labor. I'm losing some of our inventory. But I know that this is the beginning and the nurturing of a relationship that's going to yield a huge amount of money or value in the long term. You need to increase that domain by which you're quantifying things because oftentimes a lot of people like to pull the numbers game. Ooh, I sold my stocks at this number. I'm rich. Well, is that truly the case? Cool. You made a lot of money off a crypto dump. Now, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to go buy some supercars, be an idiot, get an amazing and a beautiful Rolex, and then realize that you have absolutely no money? One of the things that happens to a lot of professional athletes that don't know how to manage money. Because just because you have it doesn't mean that it has any value to you. Are you going to invest in properties? Are you going to put it in a 401k? Are you going to put it into an REIT, for example, something that's going to yield high dividends that it can reinvest, multiply, and grow? Do you have assets, or do you just sit on your ass and spend your money? It's very simple. You got to understand that you have the money. You got to understand what it means. You got to understand the value that it holds, and you got to make your pennies work for pennies. It's like the richest man in Babylon. He says, make your pennies into slaves that make you more pennies. I understand that word is a little harsh of a word, but all he's saying is, you have the money. Why not invest it in somebody else who can multiply it? Somebody has a small little business idea, right? They want to do a merch drop. And you're like, okay, cool. How much money do you need? 500. All right. What are your projections? How many people do you think you can sell it to? Well, $500 for production. I think we can foot all of our product in less than 30 days, and we're going to make 1,500. All right, cool. I want 750 back. In 30 days, with you doing nothing but forking over $500, you made $250 worth of profit. That's how you need to start thinking. And hey, it's not for everybody. You might want to relax. You might want to sit back and just spend your money, and that's perfectly fine. But if you really, really, really want to survive in the economical circumstances that we're in to this day, you have to be smart with your money. You have to be financially literate. There's a lot of people that get baited into these financial gurus, and they go down the rabbit hole of trying to learn and learn and learn and learn, but they never actually put things into action. You have to actually understand these things and start testing them out for yourselves. Everybody wants to be a trader, but nobody understands how stocks work. Nobody understands that it's not just numbers on a fucking chart. It actually has an entire global impact. That's why some of the best long-term financial investments are made in tandem with people who understand global economics. They can see that a currency is going to drop in X amount of years. And hey, this is our exit point. Buy now that it's low, 5-10 years, pull out. Sell it, you'll be good.
And you know what's one of the most important things on the face of the earth right now, which is what you basically mentioned, analytics. So one of the most significant benefits of data analytics is that it takes speculation out of critical and even minor business decisions. So when you're thinking about things, sometimes they may come from an emotional standpoint. Oh, it looks cool. It moves fast. It looks like it's selling a lot. I'm going to make my decision off of that. But looks can be deceiving. So this is something that I believe his name is, Bobby Bean, Brandon Bean, something like that, of the Oakland A's. This happened a while ago. It's called Moneyball. They made a movie out of it with Brad Pitt and all that shit, right? So it's
Bobby Crosby? No, American coach?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Billy Bean, I think. But so
Billy Bean.
Yeah,
Yes.
Billy Bean. Yeah. Brandon Bean is the Bills' fucking GM. But anyway, so he noticed, or a young guy noticed, that he ended up hiring, that people were making a lot of decisions based off of namesake. Like, oh shit, this guy has a great name in fucking baseball. Yeah, let's pay him. This guy, it's Pena. Like, his older brother is fucking amazing. You know, and he has a name and he's done some things. Let's fucking bring him in, man. Let's pay him. Let's pay this guy. We're paying these guys. They're productive, yada, yada, yada. But the team wasn't winning. So then, for some reason, Billy was like, you know what? Let me hear this kid out, because he's saying, why are you guys paying these guys? Our best players. Of course we're going to pay them. But the kid was like, you should do X, Y, and Z. And it made no fucking sense. None. However, come to find out, it made all the sense of the world. And this is really the foundation of how people do business and how people handle, especially shit in sports nowadays, is they looked at the numbers. And the numbers told a different story from what most people's eyes told. Mm-hmm. Seasoned scouts that have been in the industry for decades were saying, oh yeah, these guys have the fucking talent, man. Oh my gosh, we got to get them on the team, or we got to keep them on the team. Why, you want to trade them? Fuck no, we're not doing that. These seasoned scouts were saying this. However, the kid was saying, they don't get on base. And you know how you fucking win baseball games? Getting on fucking base. Of course, you got to hit home runs and do all this shit. Yeah, that's fucking great. But if you hit one fucking home run and don't get on base for the rest of the fucking game, and the other team got on base more than you, they're probably going to fucking win. It's in the numbers. The details are in the numbers. So that's something that he found out. And again, now the whole industry of sports is built on that. Like, of course, like, some people may move pretty fast. They may be able to jump high. They may be able to catch some shit. That's cool. But how efficient and effective are they? And when you look at the numbers, and when you analyze your data, when you have a data analyst or just have some shape of analytics, some shape or form of analytics, you're able to see how things really are working. Because sometimes we jade ourselves or we kid ourselves to make it seem like we're doing better than what we think we are because, you know, we like to pat ourselves in the back, or sometimes we make it seem like we're doing worse than we think we are because somebody could be a little bit depressive and pessimistic on how they view things. But if you look at the fucking numbers, it takes the emotion, it takes all the speculation, it takes all the fucking guesses out of the information that you're getting, and you're getting concrete fucking numbers. If you can be able to understand the data and understand the numbers that you're seeing, then you can know how to move forward through that. And there's a lot of tools out here that you can use. One thing that we use and one of our mentors really emphasized was QuickBooks. This allows you to be able to see the numbers in every aspect, whether it's your inventory, how much money you're spending, how much you're driving, mileage, all that type of shit. You're able to break things down to the specific number because whenever you're able to do this, this not only helps you and your peace of mind, it also helps you for shit like taxes. A lot of people say that they're making a lot, like that guy that you mentioned who sold his stocks for XYZ. However, what most people don't fucking tell you or they won't publicize is you have this thing called capital gains taxes. Mm-hmm. So whatever the fuck he might have made, who knows, $200,000. That's cool. As soon as you pull that shit out of that fucking account, that Forex account or whatever the fuck you have it, and as soon as you pull it out, you have to fucking pay taxes on that fucking money. And because you made that much, you're going to be in a higher tax bracket, which means that you're going to have to pay more than the probably average person when it comes to how much they're getting a month and how much they're getting taxed a month. So genius, just because you made however much that you say that you made on that specific trade, it could have been fucking 200 grand. But in reality, what you're getting, what you're pocketing from that could be around the fucking 90, 80 grand total. Okay. So of course that's still a lot, but when you're looking at certain things like, you know, this, you really have to do the analysis on how these things work because again, it gives you that peace of mind. And using specific tools like QuickBooks, other data analytics tools that may be out there to help you do this can really help your business grow and help you kind of push those numbers up as well. So data analytics is super, super important. And that's also why they're paying people to do this as well, because if you're able to find a meaning in the numbers, you can help businesses and you can help people grow in ways that they may not have thought before, you know. So I think it's super, super important when it comes to dealing with numbers and looking at your numbers.
And this is also why people pay exorbitant amounts of money for data.
Right.
That's why big data is such a big thing and why databases are very, 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 very coveted. You know, and it's funny, there's an entrepreneur, I told you about this guy. I met him at a cafe. And the gentleman actually made a software that was designed to save your Facebook business chats. It was meant to back up the data. However, in their contract, if you use it, in the event that your Facebook account gets taken down or that it just simply got hacked, you have a cache of all your business conversations, which means you have an inventory of everything. Well, what was interesting is in the contract, when you sign it, they have open access to your data. And 80% of his revenue actually came from people paying to use that data. Everything from political orientations to age to demographic to income was included in that data, and people were paying for that data. And when I say 80%, this guy was running a $500,000 enterprise. So that's a lot of money coming just for data alone. But to close this out, I want to touch back on one of the things that you brought up, and that was that numbers are unemotional and numbers don't care. Numbers are absolute and they tell a story that emotions don't. You can go as far as you want to go. You can make the best arguments that you can make. You can have the best business plan. But if your numbers don't reflect it, you can't support anything. The numbers don't care how you feel. They're going to present themselves. You think Uncle Sam says you owe me $10,000? Did you have a bad day? Uncle Sam doesn't care. When you need to get paid, you need to get paid. When you work, you want to get paid. Your employer doesn't say, I don't feel like paying you today. If they do, I suggest you look for another employer. And also, yeah. But that story that you're talking about, I just remembered when I was taking a data science class, that was the story they used, because what they ended up doing was he was picking players that were back end players.
Correct.
So it wasn't like, hey, how's your batting average? How's this? How's that? No, it's like, how can we get the best baseman? Like, who are the best catchers numerically? It's like how Ginobili was the best sixth man, but he was one of the pivotal players in the Spurs. And he was an all-star as a sixth man off the bench, which is, you wouldn't expect that. You'd say, oh, he's not a starter. He's not an all-star. He's not the best or one of the best players at his position historically. He's not a Hall of Famer, because looking at his portfolio, you know, or what I see, he's coming off the bench. It's like, yeah, but his numbers speak for themselves. His impact on the team speaks for themselves. When he's in the game, numbers go up, assists goes up, steals goes up, fouls go down, the defensive stops go up, right? The conversion rate and the turnover rate, the ratio gets higher.
And that's a great point that you mentioned the Spurs specifically, because if you look at them visibly, they look very boring. Is it sexy basketball? Is it basketball that's going to make you fucking jump up and down and scream, this is the fucking best basketball game I've ever seen in my life? Probably not. You might even fucking go to sleep. But if you look at the fucking numbers, they're the most efficient fucking team, or especially that team back then, they were the most efficient fucking team, one of them, of all fucking time. Because like you said, when they all got in the court together, or when a specific person got on the fucking floor, if you thought that they weren't that important of a player in general, if you looked at the numbers, it said differently. It said, you know, like you said, turnovers went fucking down. Defense increased. The win-loss ratio went up. The steals ratio fucking went up. All these metrics went up because maybe they weren't the sexiest person, but efficiency-wise, the numbers fucking backed that this person was best for the team and best to have out on the court. So, again, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. So if you look at the fucking numbers and you calculate them correctly, they can tell you a lot about a person. They can tell you a lot about a business. They can tell you a lot about the world around you, because everything that you're looking at somehow, some way has a number fucking in it somehow. You know, the camera, how it's shooting, this mic and how it's fucking capturing our fucking voices and whatnot. This laptop, every fucking thing that you're seeing right now, everything that you're processing right now has something to do with numbers. So you would be a plumb fool to not realize that and to not utilize that to your fucking benefit, because the smart people out there are utilizing the numbers to the best of their abilities. And the dumb people are just thinking, oh, you know, numbers, whatever. I'm gonna just go about doing things how I feel and do shit by the seat of their pants. And that's only gonna take you so far. If you want to go from $1 million business to $1 billion business, I almost guarantee you're gonna have your fucking numbers as pristine as possible. It's not gonna be on a whim, guarantee you that. So in order for you to increase from 1,000 to a couple 100,000, 100,000 to 1 million, all that type of shit, your numbers along the way are going to have to reflect where you're at. You can't be a long-term business that does good business with bad numbers, because those bad numbers are going to catch up to you. It's going to be the reason you fail.
The AM Club Podcast.
Signing out. Mic check.
The AM Club Podcast.